Hello, hello, hello. Good afternoon, everyone. Whoever is present here, who may be joining late in the event/webinar, this is your host Himanshi Kaushik, and I heartily welcome you in this event. And I know that I also hope that you all are safe, sound, and happy at wherever you're taking this webinar from. So I hope you know why have we gathered here. Of course, we have gathered to know a lot more about the cybersecurity. That's the topic that we are going to listen today from our experts here. So now I would like to request Atul sir to kindly please introduce us to our expert. Atul sir.
So good afternoon, everyone. So we are happy to welcome Mr. Pradipta Chakravarti. He is the regional director from CompTIA, and he is the expert for today's session. And he'll be just telling us the prospective careers in cybersecurity and blockchain, which the students can opt for and build their careers towards a fruitful future. So over to you, Pradipta sir.
Thank you very much, Himanshi and Atul sir. It's a pleasure as always to interact with the LPU team as well as the prospective students here. My name is Pradipta Chakravarti, and I work for an organization called CompTIA. I will talk about the organization a little bit as we go along the session, but the main objective of today's session is to orient you all towards a career in the most emerging and happening domain within technology, where you can build your career, which is basically around the area of cybersecurity and blockchain. But before that, let me first start with congratulating all of you for and I'm assuming that most of the students here who are joining in the session today have just completed their grade 12 examination and looking at this important juncture of deciding about what is going to happen with their life in the next few years. I'm using the few years because the world is changing rapidly, and therefore nothing is static in this world. But having said that, you have to make some decisions, and we'll help you make those decisions. So once again, a very hearty congratulations to each and every student who have crossed their first milestone of coming out of senior secondary school. So best wishes and many, many congratulations. I will start the session with narrating a little personal story that I have to share so that it sets up the context of what we are talking about. In December, we had as a family, we had gone to this wonderful place in Kerala as a family vacation in December. And this is a picture that I took of the huge tea gardens and the valleys. I don't know if people are there from Kerala or not, but it's a wonderful place. It's one of my favorite destinations. And it was a wonderful winter vacations that we spend in this beautiful, people say it's God's own country. But what I'm going to talk to you about is a very personal experience that I went through. And this happened for the first time it was a 10-day trip. So when we started, on the left-hand side, you see it is my wallet. It's in a very tattered condition. Sorry about that. But when we started the trip, I had about 1,500 rupees cash in my wallet when we started from Delhi. I live in Delhi, and we started the trip from Delhi. And that was basically on 27th of December of 2022. And when we ended the trip on 7th of January, which is about 10 days of trip on 2023, it's a new year, 7th of January, I was left with just about 45 or 50 rupees. So what I'm saying is that out of that 1,500 rupees cash that I had, I only spent about 480 odd rupees, 1,480 odd rupees in cash, and the rest was there left. And can you imagine that in a space of 10 days, I hardly dealt with any cash. And I'm sure that you as a generation will be appreciating this fact that cash is something of the past. Yesterday, there was a news that the UPI payments hit a record 9 billion transactions worth 14 lakh crore only in the month of May, which is an amazing feat for a country like India, where it's not only in the largest. And just to go back to my story, is that when we were traveling, we traveled in really remote location, very small villages. We had our own car, and even there, if you have to have a nariyal pani, if you have to have a coconut water, there was a lady from a village who was sitting and selling, and I could transfer the amount electronically to her wallet or to her bank account using the UPI app. So that's the beauty of the technological brilliance that our country is going through right now. So, on the left, as you see some of the images out there, STD, PCO, ISD, the typewriter, the DVD player, the post box, all of that is a matter of past. I don't know if your generation has ever seen a movie on a DVD player. At least over the last 15 years, you have not. I don't know when you have used or walked into an STD booth to make a phone call, or you have sent a letter to your friends or family or whatever using a post box. Typewriter, of course, even in my generation, I have not seen or used typewriter. Yes, when I was in my college, I was doing my final year of graduation, and the thesis was written on a typewriter. But since then, I don't think I have ever used the typewriter ever. And what is interesting is that this machine that you see on the right-hand side, very soon, this machine will also be obsolete. So what I'm trying to say is that there is a huge change, a rapid pace of technological development, which is affecting our economy, and therefore will affect in terms of what you would want to do as you go around in life, because the technology enabled services are changing very, very rapidly, very, very fast. And therefore, every young people, you would be around 18, 19 years old, you would have to change accordingly. So that is what the first message that I had. And all of that is happening around the world because of this huge change that is happening, which is called digital transformation. And I'll spend a little bit time talking about digital transformation so that it sets up the context to what I'm going to say. Now, historically, we have gone through 3 different stages of digitalization or digital transformation. The first one, of course, was digitization, where it was a process of making information available in a digital format. So all you do is basically you have a set of data that you convert into, you put it into an electronic system so that you are doing away slowly with paper record or writing down in pens. The second stage came when you talked about digitalization, where there was slightly more automation done using digital technologies. For example, Excel, you are able to do some basic analysis on Microsoft Excel. So one is that you digitized, you converted that data into an electronic format. Second stage, you are using the technology or the software to basically put in some amount of analytics, some amount of intelligence into that whole system. Right now, where we are is something that is called digital transformation, where you are not only putting in data electronically, putting some smartness into it, but what you're doing now is, you must have heard about automation, you must have heard about of artificial intelligence. So using all of that technology, what you're doing right now is you are making the system smarter and smarter so that you can run business applications. You can make far more faster decisions using digital transformation. And in all these places, there is a constant debate that if there is so much of digitalization and digital transformation happening, what happens to people who are working in the technology industry? And there is always a fear that if everything is, like, for example, you've all heard about what is happening around ChatGPT. A lot of people are saying that, hey, you know what, there will be some jobs that will go away from the market, things that ChatGPT can do or any other artificial intelligence-based system can do. But my dear friends, I want to point out one thing, that historically we have seen that whenever there is a technology change or transformation happening, yes, there are certain jobs that go out of the market, but there are 3 times more jobs that are created in the market. The only difference is that you need a little bit more skills, a little bit different skills. And most important skill is that learnability. You should be all open to learning, and then you can make yourself more relevant to the industry today. So what is digital transformation, and why is organizing investing in digital transformation? First of all, you try to understand that in the past, organizations use technology as just a support function to run its business. Whereas now, technology or digital transformation is enabling organizations to use technology to build their business. They are increasing their productivity. They are increasing how to gain new customers, how to service new customers better. So what is happening is that from expense to the organization, technology is expense. When you buy these software, when you buy these laptops and servers and so on and so forth, you buy a space in the cloud, etc. What you are doing essentially is, in the past, it was always considered as an expense to an organization. Now it is considered as a medium to generate more profit for the organization. So that is what digital transformation is bringing in the world of business today. There is no organization in this world that can live without moving towards implementing new technologies, emerging technologies to bring that business in. Some of the examples, very interesting. Apple, all of you have heard about this organization. Many of you would be having Apple phone. Way back, few years back, like not way back, but about 5-7 years back, Apple developed CarPlay, and the CarPlay is an integrated infotainment system that some of the car manufacturers included into it. And what they found out that people are so satisfied with, the car infotainment system, which is seamless, that their sale increased. General Electric, another big organization, developed digital windmills, which is where, and I'm sure that a lot of people who are from, so I was once going in Tamil Nadu, and I was traveling towards Kanyakumari, and I saw miles after miles of windmills out there. They are all connected to a small transformer which generate electricity. There are multiple sensors out there. Now, all of this is becoming more and more seamless with development of digital windmills, which are the new technology or the new way of generating electricity. Using 3D printers, Airbus, the large plane manufacturers, have decreased their energy usage by about 90%. So these are huge, case studies of how digital transformation is used in today's world to develop more business, to have better customer satisfaction, and to reach out to a larger customer base. So as you can see, the technology is now being implemented in business area. The other example is very close to my heart because I started as an oil field engineer way back in 1998 when I graduated from university. And I used to work in oil industry, in the oil rigs, where it was a huge manpower required. There were some people who were managing the drilling machines. There were some people who were managing the various sensors. There's some people who are managing the entire process of the oil coming out from the oil wells and so on and so forth. Now they have reduced the number of people required by 1/4 by using real-time monitoring of oil wells, by connecting all the sensors using Internet of Things. So all of that is bringing down the cost of doing business, and therefore the productivity increases. Yes, out of that 400 people in a shift that used to work, there are 200 people or 300 people who are already gone. But those people need to be trained in these modern technologies so that they can be implemented in multiple different oil industries or oil rigs across the world. So that is the beauty of utilizing all the emerging technologies that we talk about. Artificial intelligence, we are already, my phone is already 5G right now, Internet of Things, where devices are connected. You've heard about Alexa, you've heard about Siri, you've heard about so many other automated bots where sensors are being connected. Your smartwatch that you're wearing, which is able to manage and maintain your health data and so on. It's all on IoT. We'll talk about blockchain in a little bit. Computing has become completely on cloud. So this big servers that organizations used to buy in past is past. Biometrics, the whole Aadhaar system is based on biometrics. There is robotics, natural language processing, AR, VR, quantum. So there are so many, I don't want you to get into too much of depth into it, but there are so many emerging technologies that together brings that whole digital transformation revolution. So what is in there for you? Why am I talking all of that? Because the biggest challenge of implementing emerging technologies which lead to digital transformation processes is cybersecurity, because now your data is not only on your phone or your laptop or within the perimeter of the organization's network, but it's actually all out in the cloud. And therefore, cybersecurity becomes a very, very important aspect of the organization. Apart from that, there are various other points. You're talking about leadership. Can people accept this? How much do we automate? How much of data privacy can we think about? What are the various government compliances that we are looking at when we are handling data? Unfortunately, in India, as you know, that I'm sure that you have so many calls every day, where people trying to spam you, send across marketing messages. That's all a part of data privacy compliances that we're talking about. But bottom line, the largest and the most important aspect of all of this technological revolution is cybersecurity. And that is what we're going to talk about. This slide talks about all the major organizations that over the past many years have been attacked by hackers who has a malicious intent of stealing your data, be it a Yahoo or Marriott or Target. In India, there was such a big, breach in Air India, where personally my data got stolen. Air India reached out to me and say, hey, your personal information is compromised. Can you change your login ID, password, and so on and so. There are multiple cases. Every 39 seconds, there is a cyber attack that is happening in the world. And that is nearly what it costing the world is nearly 1% of the world's GDP. And more importantly, we just talked about the IoT and the connected devices. About 1/4 of all the cyber attacks are involving IoT devices, right? So there is a huge challenge that as people do not speak about it much. People, yes, they are now slowly talking, they're coming out in the open and say, okay, I've got hacked, or the organization coming and saying that we have got hacked. But the fact of the matter is that I'll give an analogy that there are thieves in the country. There is law which will stop the thieves, but do you think that theft will stop because of that? The only thing you can do is improve your own security. And that is what, if you translate that to the business environment, this is what we are talking about. And therefore, what is in it for you? There are 47 lakh security workforce. People who are working in security are currently working globally, but there are 34 lakh people or positions that are still open where organizations require cybersecurity professional. Out of that 34 lakhs, interestingly, about 22 lakhs is only in India and China. And I'll show you another research that came out that currently, as we speak, 2022, India has a deficit of 563,000 or 560, close to about 565,000 people that the industry requires right now to work on cybersecurity or become a cybersecurity specialist. There is not enough cybersecurity professionals in the world. Organizations are working their level best by adding more and more young people like you who will go through a whole training, go through the whole process of learning how to manage cybersecurity, how to resolve problems by adding more and more people. This is a report from Microsoft which says that in India, which is the yellow bar, most of the organizations say that as pandemic struck in, we are hiring more and more additional security professionals. That's the kind of thing that we're talking about. But before going further, I will try to demystify a couple of things that usually come across when I speak to young people like you and their understanding of what is cybersecurity. First and foremost, when I ask this question to most students, they say that cybersecurity is hacking. In reality, cybersecurity is much, much more than hacking. In fact, you are the people, you are the army who will be trained to stop how to hack. So what are you doing as a cybersecurity engineer? Very simplistically, you're protecting electronic assets. You're protecting the internet, you're protecting the wide area network, you're protecting the LAN. You are focusing on how a malicious actor, how a hacker use these resources to attack and steal information. You're making sure that the hackers cannot access your organization's data and information, which is secret to an organization, be it a fashion company, be it a car manufacturer, be it a bank, financial institution. Anywhere you go, everywhere has got proprietary information that they would like to control and not to go out in the market. And your job is to basically help that. And how you will do that? By implementing security solutions, focusing on understanding how cloud-based, by the time you guys pass out, almost the entire industry will move into a cloud-based environment. How do you implement? I don't want you to get into the depth of these topics, but just wanted to give you a flavor that how do you move into a zero trust environment, how to understand threats better, how to understand and think from a hacker's standpoint. How do you quantify security breaches? And all of that will be a part of what you would learn if you decide to go for a career in cybersecurity. Okay, so if you look at historically, around before 2000, there were three elements of security or IT security. One was a physical security, which talks about access. All of you in your college would have an access card, which has your ID card. You show it in a gate, the gate opens up and you're going. So that's a part of the physical security, which is, okay, there are certain areas that I'm not allowed to go and there are certain areas that I'm allowed to go. Second is information security, which is how do you secure data? And the third is cyber security, which was a part of it because before 2000, there were not many cyber physical systems. And when I say cyber physical system, it means connected devices. It means that before 2000, your phone did not have connection to the internet, perhaps, or you did not have a Google Cloud account where your photographs and your assets are out there on the cloud. Now, so if you look at your day-to-day life, you have a connected music system, just like an Alexa, device. You have smartphones. Many of you would be having smartphones, which is tracking your physical data, your health data. You would have multiple other devices. In fact, nowadays, electronic devices, electrical devices like fans, lights, etc., they are all connected to internet. Your refrigerator, it's all connected to internet. And in the next 3 to 4 years, there'll be much more of these connected devices. So all of these devices are called cyber physical system. There are physical systems or physical devices which are connected to the cyber world. So therefore, cybersecurity as a word has become equivalent to IT security, right? There is still a part of physical security that you have to learn. There's a part of data security that you have to learn. But by and large, the biggest challenge is Internet of Things, connected devices, where the human is connecting with a digital world. And that is where the whole cybersecurity concept comes in. To understand more about an organization, you will, as you grow up, as you go into the corporate world, you will see that there are 4 major areas within an organization. One is the infrastructure, which means the entire device, the networking, the laptops, the servers, the network cables, and so on and so forth as part of the what we call as infrastructure. The second area is the software and application, which we talk about development. So that has also changed a lot. I'm sure that some of you students would have studied a bit of software development. For those who have taken electives of computer science, you've learned basics of computer software development and so on. So that is the development part. Third is data. people say that data today is the lifeblood of organizations, and then securing all three of them, the infrastructure, the development, the application, and the software, and the data is all about security. So these are the four basic blocks of a digital organizations in today's world. And when they talk to each other, that is what we call as DevOps, which is development, or DevSecOps, which is development security operations, where today, as a security person, you need to know a bit of data, you need to know a bit of software development, you need to know a bit of how systems, operating systems, hardware, and networking work. So it's a multidisciplinary knowledge that is required from candidates like you and today. We talk about defense in depth because the whole IT system of an organization has got basically various layers. You have got the data layer, you've got the perimeter, you've got the network layer, you've got the application layer, you've got the endpoint, which is your phone or your laptop through which you're connecting to the internet. And today we are looking at securing at one go, securing or defending. Note here that I'm not using the word attacking, I'm using the word defending. So all you have to understand is that it's all about defense. It's not about attack. It's not about hacking. It's about how to stop the entire IT system, which includes all of these various layers, from outside threat, and that is why cybersecurity people are in huge demand. The second thing that I wanted to demystify today is when you talk about blockchain. I'm sure that many of you have heard about the word blockchain, and you say that blockchain is equal to Bitcoin, the cryptocurrency that you all know. A lot of development is happening around cryptocurrency. But one of the things that I wanted to suggest here is that it will take a long time for cryptocurrencies to be actually applied, because countries will not give away their financial system to a cyber system of transactions. So, but bottom line is that blockchain has got many other applications, right? So it's not Bitcoin. It's a technology-enabled process that is used for securing information at various levels. I'll give you an example that if you go to an old office, a government office, you will see a lot of files kept there, right? And each of these files would have, different pages of different transactions that has happened. And what really happens is that anybody can take and tamper with that. They'll tear away some page, or they will add some other factor. Somebody can come and change the language and do whatever it is. Even in a, if you are talking about a Word document, easily changeable and so on. Now, what we are doing in blockchain is that converting each of these transactions in small nodes, which are interconnected to each other. So you cannot change one aspect of a node without letting the other person or the other aspect of the other node to know about it. So therefore, you are spreading out your risk, and you are making the system a way more secured and controlled in terms of doing those transactions. So that's the basic of blockchain. Obviously I don't want to spend a lot of time in talking about that, but just to give you a little bit of idea, it's a distributed ledger system. You know what is ledger is, right? It's a file. Now, and I'm talking about ledgers, when you go to banks, you'll see that there are huge ledgers, which are big files. So these are distributed ledger systems, which has limited control and a controlled environment where I can control some part of it. I can make some changes, and I'm authorized by the rest of the organization to do that. New transactions are added, and the old transactions are validated constantly. So this is basic of blockchain technology, and it does by using or storing of data across networks. It completely secured through cryptography. There is another topic of cybersecurity. So cybersecurity becomes a base knowledge for blockchain. It removes human error and data leak. Nobody can tamper, nobody can change with any data, because the moment you try to change this, there'll be a chain reaction that happens across entire system, where somebody will figure out that there is something malicious. So it's practically unbreachable technology that we're talking about. To make it more simple, just the IPL has just finished, and as you know that there are 4 stakeholders in the IPL. One is people like us, who are the citizens, who are who know a certain amount of knowledge that, okay, this is the team, there are so many players, these are the players who are playing, and so on. So that's the only information that we have about the teams and the score, whether they have won and lost. Second is the players which are like nodes, which keeps on adding into a team. But what is the mechanism behind the adding of that team? It's the team who decides whether we should know it or not. Nowadays, when the auctions are happening, you know that it's a nationally televised event, and we come to know, but the organization can decide that I'll keep it under wraps. Then you have got the teams which are like networks. The multiple teams get added together, and the whole league controlled by the BCCI, the Board of Cricket Control in India, who manages more information. So BCCI is at the pinnacle, followed by the teams, followed by the players, and then the fans, right? So any change that happens internally, the system is set in such a way, if you imagine that as a blockchain analogy, then there is a chain of information that people can access. For example, one team cannot access what the other team's strategy is, right? So that is controlled. So that is sort of a very close analogy of what blockchain is. And therefore, it is used today in, we talk about digital currency. I don't know what is the future, in terms of how much of regulatory allowance will we get on digital transactions using cryptocurrency, but there are equity markets, there are smart contracting, there is record keeping, there is so many application of blockchain, and that is why we are seeing a year-on-year growth of close to 70%, and there are very little manpower which is available in this domain. I'm not saying that the moment you complete this course you will get into a blockchain industry. Your start point will be from a security standpoint, which is basically, I would say, a fuel to the blockchain. But at the end of the day, as we speak, another 5 years, 7 years, the implication and the applications of blockchain will keep on increasing. So all of that, what is in it for you? There are jobs. Yeah, and then that's why you're putting in the amount. That's why you're working towards. You're working hard for your school. You'll work hard for your university. You will 4 years graduation. At the end of the day, what you want is there employment opportunity in the market if I learn the concepts of cybersecurity and blockchain? And I don't have to say anything myself. A lot of articles are there in the market where we see that while all the other domains of software development or many other areas are stagnant, the growth in cybersecurity job demand is much, much more higher. Why? Because there is a lot of processes within software development that can actually be automated, whereas cybersecurity is very innate skills. And that is the reason, while the whole of the job market was pretty much standardized, there were freeze of hire. When I talk to Accentures and IBMs, they say that, okay, we have a general freeze in hiring, but if you are skilled, and especially in emerging technologies like cybersecurity engineers, we are ready to hire you. Also, earlier, if you look at IT careers, you can only think of organizations like TCS or Infosys or Wipro or Cognizant and so on and so forth. But today, if you are a cybersecurity engineer, you might land up working in a bank. You might land up working in a manufacturing company. You can land up working in a retail company like Amazon and so on and so forth. So there's a huge scope. And this is where I would like to introduce you as to how you progress your career towards cybersecurity. You join as a cybersecurity engineer. Your first line of job after your education is to basically secure systems. You're the first line of defense, right? You basically are a person who's going to defend at level 1. That's your job, and you'll always have to start at that level. And then, of course, you move into more complex job roles like cybersecurity analyst, or what we call as penetration testers, who basically work hand in hand on defense and simulating an attack. So what the penetration tester does is simulates an attack and identifies the vulnerabilities that are there in the system. And it's like a practice session where, if you are playing football, then, there are certain people who are forwards who will keep on trying to check the goalkeeper's, capability by constantly attacking in a practice session. So that's penetration tester, whereas the security analysts are the defense team and the goalkeeper who's going to constantly monitor the game from back end and figure out that what might go wrong. It's all about modeling. And then, of course, you move into a higher level where you become a security architect or a blockchain architect, where you actually solution the whole the concept of how do you integrate, how do you create a secured solution, or how do you create a blockchain solution. Part of that will be taught if you take up this BTech in cybersecurity and blockchain at LPU, which we have worked out together. But this is a sort of a broad growth path, depending on your situation, on what is your skill. You can get into some of these levels, maybe skip the first level, but that is not 8 out of 10 people will start in this kind of a pyramidal structure. But that's an excellent kind of a growth pattern where you move from one level to the other. Now, what do you need to do? So for being a cybersecurity, you need to have some core skills. For example, you need to have OS. Till now, you have used Windows. Everybody has, even somebody who is in grade 3 or grade 4, connecting with any kind of digital device is using an operating system. Either it's an Android or iOS or Windows or Linux or so on and so forth. You are a user at this point in time. But the core skills that you require is how do you implement, how do you troubleshoot, how do you set up operating systems. So that's the knowledge that I'm talking about. You need to have the core understanding of networking and cloud computing. How do computers connect to each other? How do we connect to the internet? So that nitty-gritties that you need to know, because that is what you're saving. You're saving your systems, you're saving your network, you're saving your cloud. So that is what you're basically doing. So you need to know what you're defending, right? A goalkeeper needs to know how much wide is my goal post, how much high is my top bar, and so on. So the goalkeeper is aware of the entire environment, and that is what we're talking about. You're defending OS, you're defending network, you're defending cloud. And of course, today you cannot avoid, there is a little bit of programming out here, not too much as a software developer, but there is still programming that is required. The other thing that I'm missing here is also a lot of data analytics skill. How do you analyze data? How do you come out with a pattern in the data that can help you model that whether there is a threat which is upcoming or not. And then, of course, within the domain skills, you have cybersecurity and blockchain that will be taught to you throughout this course, right? So what are the skills that are required? And this is what I missed in my previous slide, that, is it interesting that you're talking about cybersecurity, but around 2021, 22, 23, I'm sorry for the, there's a little, it's 2021 data and today we're 2023. But even now, if you open any research, the topmost skill that people require is data or data analytics skills. You need networking. I've already mentioned about data analytics. You know to understand, to know what are the kind of threats that are happening. Identity management becomes a very crucial thing, that whom to give access to what amount of information, who accesses X data within my organization and does not access the Y data. So that's what we're talking about, identity management. The software that people develop, how do you secure those software? How do you secure the endpoints, the mobiles, the laptops, the interconnected devices? And all of that is under a regulatory landscape, and those regulations, the government regulations, are something that you will learn. You will learn the basic of cryptography, which is core knowledge for being a security engineer or an analyst or a blockchain development. So all of that are the skill required. and that's why when we go out and talk to organization in India, there are 77% of people or organization who say that we lack in cybersecurity skills. We need more and more people in the world of cybersecurity, and that is the opportunity for you. So the other thing that I wanted to talk is a third aspect, which is basically, in the earlier days, what used to happen is that, there was very set patterns, but now with the change, what is happening is that organizations are hiring more and more specialization with soft skills, whether what is your attitude, are you able to learn, are you interested to learn, etc., along with the technology area, because they want people to start working and earning money for those organizations from day one. So therefore, you require a very hands-on kind of a program. And the program that we have developed along with LPU, the BTech Honors in Computer Science, Engineering, and Cybersecurity Blockchain, I would say it's about 70% or 80% hands-on, with a lot of elements of industry immersiveness, mentors or specialists coming in and talking about the technology area, helping you to understand. Even on the second year, maybe you will be able to understand what is happening in the industry, so that when you come out of the college after 2 years, you are very well knowledgeable about what is happening in the industry. And that thought has gone behind developing the curriculum of this course. So what will you get out of it? You will become a leader in the field of cybersecurity, which definitely, and you can Google this, is the fastest growing technology career option. One of the fastest growing. There is artificial intelligence, there is cybersecurity. I think those are and then there is data area, which is definitely the top 3, out of which cybersecurity definitely is on the top as a career choice. You learn end-to-end cybersecurity from CompTIA and LPU. And I'll talk about CompTIA a little bit as we close the session. You will get hands-on and performance-based competence in the domain of cybersecurity. And you will be getting an opportunity to be employed with leading organizations globally and within India. And of course, you will get some CompTIA certifications as a part of the curriculum. Talking a little bit about CompTIA, we are a large international trade organization headquartered in the US. Our organization specializes in developing certifications from the industry, for the people like you who can get more and more hands-on skill, get certified, prove that you have learned this concept to get employment. And that is why it is very important for the curriculum to be performance-based. Till now, as students, you have gone through theory, you've done numericals, you've done a bit of labs also. I'm not denying the fact, but they are not real applications in the market. Yes, that knowledge is required. You should know how to connect an ammeter to a circuit or a voltmeter to a circuit, whether it's going to connect in a parallel or whether it's going to connect in a series. Although all those knowledge are very important, but the key is, in the job, are you able to apply the current knowledge and do performance-based jobs? Because there, theory does not work. It's only the hands-on and practical that's work. And that's what the curriculum that we have developed jointly is performance-based. It's mapped to the industry requirement. It's backed by research, and it is scenario-based. So therefore, all of these 4 elements will help you as you go along, as you create a career for yourself. You will go ahead and you will learn more. So till now, for example, you have answered questions like the one you have on the right hand side. I'm not going to the technical details of it, but it's definition based, right? Define this, or define what is, say, current electricity, or define what is sound, and so on and so forth. And there are options. It's very simple. You understand, you sort of, a part of it is also memorizing, and then you kind of answer that question. But what the industry requires is an assessment, which is on the left hand side, where you are taught how to simulate yourself as an IT engineer, and then try to find out that what really would have happened in that situation. And that is what we are talking about. It's a complete simulated environment where you have to prove that what I have learned theoretically, I'm able to apply on a real life situation. Okay, so a lot of people who are certified across the world in CompTIA, some of the programs that you learn from CompTIA and get certified is Network Plus, Security Plus, CYSA Plus, and Pentest Plus. So by the time you complete this curriculum, you will be certified. Not only you'll get a degree, but you'll also get these international certifications that are valid in organizations across the world. And that is why this is a special course that we are talking about. And one, I talked about the career opportunities, I talked about the industry as a whole, and what you would possibly like to evaluate as a future. And I'm not saying that go by what I'm saying. I'm saying that do your own research. Find out actually what is happening in the world of cybersecurity, and then take a conscious decision, right? So that is the most important part. And I'm sure that all of you are super smart. You're not going to listen to exactly what I'm saying, but you'll do your own research. And that is what I want you to do. And these certifications are globally valid. Organizations that prefer CompTIA certification, LPU programs are all these large organizations you're talking about. Any kind of company, like I said earlier, you have an organization like Accenture and Capgemini, which are knowledge services. You have hardware companies like HP and Dell and IBM. IBM now is a software company, of course. You have Microsoft. You have financial companies like Ernst & Young, Big Four, the Deloittes, the Ernst & Young, the KPMG. You have banks like Wells Fargo, and all of this is in India. Deutsche Bank, Amazon, they're putting in a lot of funding to set up cybersecurity center of excellences, or what we call a security operations center in India. Be it an Nike. In fact, I'll just share, we have a few more minutes before I end this, so I'll just share another personal experience. Is that last year I had gone to a huge security conference where a lot of students had come. There were a lot of IT professionals, security professionals who had come. And guess what? One of the exhibitors in that conference was this company called IKEA. I'm sure that if you are people from Hyderabad, I'm sure you would be knowing IKEA. There's a huge store of IKEA in the high-tech city. They are a furniture company. Now, I was wondering that what are they doing in a cybersecurity conference? I thought that maybe they are, trying to sell their furniture. They're trying to get people to come into their stores. But no, when I started talking to them, they are a furniture company who is setting a security operations center in a couple of locations, Hyderabad, Bangalore, and I think in Delhi area, where they will be hiring security professionals to keep their trade secrets as secret. So many examples. Airtel, for example, has got a big security center in Delhi NCR where they are selling these services. So all we know about Airtel is basically they're a carrier, right? But they are also earning money by selling security services to other organizations. Many examples of this kind. Right? So that is the length and breadth of the organizations that you can work with. Some of you would also like to go in for higher education. And once you do this course, once you do the certification, there are some top universities in the US and the West who accept and give you credit for getting or completing this course and curriculum. Purdue University, Western Governors, University of Maryland, and many others, Lewis and Clark College, all leading colleges and universities of US predominantly, who want people to come and learn higher education, go for the masters in these colleges. And if you do this curriculum, if you do this certifications, they give you credit. And these are some of the students who have done that. They have studied in India, they have worked maybe for 6 months, 8 months, 1 year. They have decided to go for higher education. And all of this is you can find these people on LinkedIn. You can check with them. You can reach out to them and say, hey, you know what? You have completed your BTech in India. You've done some of those courses, curriculum, and then you have gone abroad. So those are some of the examples. And that is why CompTIA and LPU has sat across the table and decided to develop a very contemporary curriculum, with industry immersion, which means that there are a lot of industry interaction. We get to know not only the esteemed professors of the university who are, who are authority in their own sense, giving you all the knowledge about theoretical. But not only that, but we'll also get industry people to come and talk to you, hands-on and practical. There are global certifications I've spoken about. We've talked about innovative pedagogy. Pedagogy means the style of writing a curriculum. It's very innovative, it's very modern. It's also interdisciplinary because, like I said, it's not only what today, or organizations are looking at people who are not only specialized. There is a specialization, of course, which is what we are talking about. But apart from that, technically, also, you need to know multiple things to a certain level. And also, when we talk about interdisciplinary, it's also about your attitude, your soft skills, the way you speak, the way you put across your point, the way you analyze situations, and so on and so forth. So all of that becomes a part of the interdisciplinary learning. I will end here. What you see on the screen is my contact. The best way to reach out to me is through LinkedIn. I am very active on LinkedIn. I would be very happy to, of course, you have, the LPU team who will support you understanding more about this, but you can reach out to me as well. If you have any questions about cybersecurity as a career, I will be very happy to answer them. Also, if you go to our website, comptia.org/resources, you will find a lot of information around careers. You'll find that what does a cybersecurity engineer do on a day-to-day basis, and so on. So I'll stop here. We still have about 10 minutes left, and I'll open this discussion for any questions that you have.
Sir, before we move on to questions, I'd like to thank you and of course Atul sir for coming in here, and Pradipta sir, the way you have explained everything about the cybersecurity and the prospects of it, I think it is really commendable. So thank you so much, sir, for coming in, for crediting your time, for giving your experience. Of course, I was listening to that you were explaining your personal experiences as well whilst in the session. So thank you so much, sir, for that. And yes, sir, we have certain few queries from our attendees. So with your permission, can I take them up?
Sure.
Okay. I think sir, you're answering this one. Okay.
I've already done that.
Yeah.
So
okay.
the question was that what are the core skills or knowledge that you require to get into the software industry? Look, if you just come out of the school, you might have taken a computer science as an elective, but it's a different level when you come into the first year. We will, LPU faculty members along with our trainers will teach you the fundamentals first to begin with. I think that will be for the first 2 semesters. But eventually, if you break it down, then you require, like I said, you need to know what you're defending. You need to know the operating system that you're defending in depth. How does a Windows system work? How does a Linux system work? In fact, Linux is becoming more and more important a skill. How does a network work? How does cloud and virtualization work? So all of that will be taught as fundamental knowledge before you move into the real deal in cybersecurity, and that will happen only in, I think, the 4th semester or 3rd semester or something like that, or maybe in the 4th semester.
Okay, sir, thank you so much for resolving this query. But so we have other queries as well. And
yes.
Okay, so this query came from Radha Sharma, and it
yes.
says with cyber security, we also have cyber crimes. Now, how can we protect that?
So cyber crime is what you will be protecting. So now there are 2 aspects to it. Cyber crime operates at a multiple level. First and foremost, I think there is an interesting series on Netflix called Jamtara. So it's a small village in Jharkhand, where is the crux. That was a place from where this whole, we call it phishing thing happened, where they will call up individuals, specifically older people or younger people, and say, okay, I want to transfer some money to you. Give me your PIN or give me your account details. So that's one level where the cyber criminals are attacking individuals. Right, so that's one level. Second level are big-time cybersecurity, hackers who are attacking organization data. So they would attack Air India's systems and steal. They're basically targeting the organization security or the organization's network to steal data. That's level 2. And level 3 is inter-country, where right now, for example, there is a lot of geopolitical conflict that is happening. You have the Ukraine-Russia war, there's the conflict in India and China. So there are big time malicious actors or cyber criminals who are targeting government systems. Now imagine that we are developing a very high level fighter plane, for example, just giving an example, or our nuclear project. We have a lot of scientific research going on our nuclear policy and the nuclear technology that we are developing. Imagine there is our enemy country, and I'll not name them, but anybody, that can be anybody, who attacks the government's atomic energy division and steals those blueprints. Now, that is the third level of cybercrime that happens. At every level, you need to understand how do you protect. First, how do you protect yourself? That is a very individual thing. For example, two-factor authentication, that when I'm doing any transaction, it is an OTP that is generated. I put in that OTP and then only so the first is my login ID and password, and second is the OTP. Right? So two-factor. Now we are going towards three-factor authentication as well, biometrics authentication, and so on and so forth. So that's one thing. But as individuals, as humans, many times we miss out on those small things to be done. It is the responsibility. So if I'm using an Apple phone, it is also the responsibility for Apple to make their devices so secure that people will not be able to crack into them. And that is where the employment opportunity lies, where you become as a cyber expert who are working in Apple to design the software and to design the device in such a way that it becomes more and more secure, so that the cyber criminals are not allowed to get into. And then of course you've got organization, and then you've got the whole in fact the government of India has set up something called CERT-in. It's called CERT-in, which is called the Computer Emergency Response Team, and that is where their responsibility is to have a control and a security of their entire government system. So various different levels where cyber criminals are working. And as individuals, we have to keep ourselves more secured. Two, when you guys, you people move into the enterprise organizations to work, you should be skilled enough to stop those cyber attacks in your organization or to the government.
And sir, adding to what you said, I just want to extend that answer further. That like the question was how to prevent yourself from phishing. So the best method of getting yourself prevented from the phishing is to just keep yourself aware.
Yeah.
And the purpose of delivering these courses to the audience or to the students was that to make, first of all, them aware about the cybersecurity measures and protections, and secondly, to make them employable. You have delivered a very extensive list of companies where the cybersecurity people are hired. But I would like to add one more thing, that apart from the private sectors, the government itself is quite involved in hiring the cybersecurity professionals.
Absolutely.
Although the profiles are limited, but the government has extended its portfolio of hiring to its majority of, I would say, departments and divisions. Like currently, you can very easily see the hiring of cybersecurity professionals in the banking sector. You can easily find the profiles of security officers, the network engineers, security engineers, and all. And it is not just for the freshers, but also for the experienced people also. And the government sectors, they are preferring candidates with certified or certifications done, and preferably from the CompTIA or such certification providers only. So it is not just about getting the jobs in the private sector. Absolutely. It is an equal opportunity open for getting the jobs in the government sectors also. So
Yes.
cybersecurity degrees on the whole, they are going to open a vast avenue of job opportunities for every candidate who is getting enrolled in it.
Yeah, definitely.
Sir, I would also like to add that, it's a very open knowledge today about the Prime Minister's, in a recent speech, he talked about how critical is, they call it CII, which is called the Critical Information Infrastructure, where, how do we secure our critical information? So there's a lot of funding also which is going out. And therefore, whenever there is a funding in particular domain, the opportunities of employment and the learning is way more effective.
Absolutely. And as we have seen a significant rise in these cyber crimes happening in the country, the government has initiated with the Indian Cyber Crime Coordination Center, the I4C,
I
which is
foresee, yeah.
basically taking care of all the cyber crimes which are happening within the country. And alongside, we have a helpline number where such cases could be reported. And apart from that, we have a government portal, cybercrime.gov.in, where such cases of cyber frauds and phishing could be reported. So, apart from the private sector, we do have a lot of opportunities in the government sector also.
Correct.
Okay, so thank you so much, Pradipta sir, Atul sir, for resolving this query, for providing all the knowledge about this particular. So we have another query, and it's very interesting. So can we take that up, sir?
Absolutely.
Okay, sir, it is from Ruhisha Bakshi, and it says now that so much data security and data breaches are happening and are at peak right now, could there any time where this goes out of date? I think this is what I also want to know. Can it go maybe like how technology has went? Yeah.
The career in cybersecurity, or so I'll just focus on the career in cybersecurity. So look, technology is not going away for sure. Technology will be there. And the more you are interacting with systems, what you're doing essentially is you are developing more and more data, right? Every time you click a picture, that goes into the cloud because it gets saved in your Google Drive. So what you're doing effectively is that, and that is an example at a very bottom level that I'm talking about, but basically you are creating more and more data, you're creating more and more information, and hence this is never going to stop. This will keep on increasing. And the more the data is increasing, now imagine that if you have, more and more money, it's said, and I'm sorry to, kind of draw that analogy, but the fear of losing will only happen when you have become richer and richer, right? So we are becoming richer and richer. The industry has become richer in data. So there's so much of data that is flowing on. So the security, the people who, are hackers, basically they're doing it for money, right? They want to steal data from one place, sell it to the other person, and earn some money out of it, right? So that's the main motive. So the more the data, the more the threat, the more the requirement of people. And I can guarantee and confidently say that cybersecurity as a career will never become obsolete, if that is the question that was asked.
Okay, thank you, sir. Atul sir, do you want to add anything to it?
Yes, cybersecurity as a career, it was existing earlier also, although it was not hyped that much because the cyber crimes or the data breaches, they were limited to their scope and extent. But as Pradipto sir highlighted that everything is getting digitized these days, the information is getting stored on the cloud and all. So due to that reason, the cyber breaches, the data breaches, and the cybersecurity incidents have increased in their scale and number. So that is the
Absolutely.
reason these things have been highlighted, and it has basically created an avenue of job opportunities for the candidates, like the students attending here.
Yeah.
So that is why we are delivering such courses, such programs here in collaboration with the industry experts and the certifications to just make the candidates future ready and job ready. And we are putting in every effort to make those candidates employable in good organizations with good profiles and salary packages.
Correct. Correct. So, I mean, like I said, there's so much. I mean, I don't think almost all of us have been attacked at some point or the other. I mean, there were 2 times where my credit card details were stolen. All of a sudden, I get message that someone in the US is using my credit card to buy a movie ticket. So I'm saying that this is going to increase. And if you so, and then comes the criticality. You lose 200 rupees or 300 rupees or 1,000 rupees, and then an organization losing millions of user data and the country losing its critical information. There are stages and there are criticality, and the whole point is that because it is, that aspect is increasing. So the need of like what Atul sir said, the awareness towards that is from a very individual standpoint. How do you make your, online activities more secure? So that is one part. Second is obviously as a professional, how can you help the industry become more secure? So that's the whole, objective.
Definitely, sir. I agree with the same that you've said. And thank you so much, sir. So we have other queries as well. Again, it came from Govind. Sir, is there any change that can AI would introduce in cybersecurity?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So what is happening is that, so artificial intelligence is basically when you built in some core knowledge into your systems, and that all happens through data modeling. That happens through, and I'm trying to be as simple as possible. Atul sir, you are a teacher, you can explain it in more details, but I will just talk from an industry standpoint that what is artificial intelligence is basically you are including some of your data analysis capabilities and developing models, making your systems a little bit more intelligent. So even within cybersecurity, what is happening is that there are a lot of processes that are moving towards automation and including artificial intelligence based automation into the system, so that there are certain part of those analysis becomes automated. Yes, you require a human intelligence to do the level 2, but maybe the level 1, maybe the very bottom level first touch, I think you get that artificial. So yes, the answer is that there is a lot of changes that are coming where artificial intelligence is being introduced in cybersecurity. The software that we are building, the antivirus or the firewall softwares that we are developing, a lot of them have capabilities of AI.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Atul sir, do you want to add?
Yeah. So the artificial intelligence, that is basically helping the cybersecurity professionals in identifying the security breaches and security risks in a better way. It is a kind of augmentation of the human intelligence which has been incorporated into the tools and the techniques used for detecting the incidents. So definitely artificial intelligence is helping the cybersecurity industry in identifying and mitigating the security threats in an effective way. And that way we are getting more sophisticated tools and more sophisticated hardware devices who are able to filter out the malicious traffic, who are able to filter out malicious applications, malicious requests and all. So there definitely artificial intelligence is going to play a good role in preventing the systems.
Okay, thank you, sir. And I hope, Govind, that you've got the answer of the query, of the question that you've written. Sir, with this, we have last question from Nikhil. And it says, in blockchain, why can't we access receiving address in blockchain technology?
Sir, would you like to take it? Because I'm not, very clear about the question that is being asked. Maybe we can discuss a little bit of basics of blockchain.
No issues. Yeah, I'll take it.
As a teacher.
Yes, of course, no issues.
Yes.
So talking about the receiving address, of course, we cannot see the receiving address as such, but we do have the hash of the transaction which is available. So we can definitely get to know about the recipient's address from the hash. We have the blockchain scanners available online. Like if I talk about the Ethereum blockchain, we can go to the etherscan.io, put in the hash of the transaction for any Ethereum transaction which has happened, and we can get to know about all the addresses, whether it was the recipient's address or it is the sender's address which has been involved in the transaction. So we call them the blockchain explorers generally. So these blockchain explorers are there for every different type of blockchain which exists. And there we can just put in the transaction hash and get the complete detail about the transaction which has been done, including the senders and receivers address, the payment of the gas fee, the payment of the reward to the miners and all, everything.
Okay, thank you, sir. Also, I did not have a bit of knowledge about that. So I hope, Nikhil, that you got the answer and your query is resolved now. So I would request, if you have other query or if anyone has other query, you can post in Q&A box. And if not, then I should take permission from, of course, our experts here to wrap this webinar up, sir, if you do not want to add anything to it.
No, just wanted to add a closing comment saying that, traditionally, if you look at Indian IT industry, you only talked about working as a software developer or in the area of software development. That has been the mainstay of the employment over the past more than 2 decades now, Yeah, so all of these organizations, Infosys, TCS, etc., they've been and mostly hiring software development or developers. All I would request to the attendees here that please keep your mind open for alternative careers apart from software development only. And by the way, nowadays, like you said, that Atul, you pointed out that there is a career in software development, there is career in hardware, etc., etc. And the skills that are required were very compartmentalized. That I know how to do software, and that's about it. Today, and that is where the interdisciplinary part comes in, where today, you need to know bits and relevant parts. Somebody asked the question that, will I learn more of software application? Yes, you will learn, but only that much that is relevant for that particular job role. So keep your mind open, do your research, do your evaluation, find out more about the industry, reach out to people like us. We'll be able to help you and wish you the very best in terms of whatever you decide in your career or studies.
Thank you, sir. Atul, sir, do you want to add any conclusion to the webinar?
Yeah, I just want to say one thing, that cybersecurity as a career, it is going to be a very fruitful option for a long term, as we are going to see a significant transformation of every physical system into a digital system, which is yet to be transformed, right? So there, the opportunities for the careers, they are going to extend further, and the programs like the BTech in cybersecurity and blockchain, as we are offering, they are going to help the candidates get the job opportunities.
Okay, thank you, sir. I'd like to take leave of course, all the participants. But before that, I would want to say, participants, I would request you to kindly apply for the course, as you have, of course, listened to the expert here. He, and along with all the faculties that are there in the LPU, will be teaching you, will be preparing you for all the real life problems, practical world, and all the companies that you may aspire for to maybe, join. And at last, I'd like to thank you, of course, all the participants to come in here, and the questions that you've given are really, really appreciated. And you've shown so much of patience, of course, with us for being so here 1.5 hour now. So thank you so much, participants. And at the last, I'd like to thank again to all the experts, sir, you coming in, for giving your time. And now with this, I just sign off this webinar. And until next webinar, stay safe and stay healthy. And also, just last one thing, if you have missed any of this part, any part of this webinar, let's say anywhere from the starting, middle, or in the end, this webinar will be uploaded on YouTube maybe next tomorrow, or you can explore our site, that is lpu.in. There will be link under the same webinar, or you can apply to, register to different webinars as well. We have different webinars coming in regularly. So with this, I say thank you, and to all the participants and sir, experts, thank you so much for joining in, sir.
Thank you so much. Namaskar.
Thank you.